Welcome to Mathew's Month. I'm Mathew Hulbert, former journalist and former councillor and current charity trustee, school governor and policy maker. I want to talk today about a big decision that many of us may have to take this year, at least those of us who are 18 plus, and that's the decision about whether Britain should remain a member of the European Union or leave that family of nations. Now, the government says that won't take place until 2017, but many leading commentators of both left and right think that the government want to get it out of the way one way or the other, and that it will take place this year, maybe in June or July. Now, I believe that Britain should remain a member of the European Union, and I want to tell you a little bit about why I believe that should be the case. I think it's more than just about jobs, although an estimated 3 million British jobs rely on our membership of the EU. I think it's more than just about wanting to keep our families safe, although the EU helps with that too by tackling cross-border crime. I think it's more than just about ensuring we have a planet to hand over to the next generation, although the EU helps with that as well, by ensuring that countries work together to tackle climate change. I actually think it's something more fundamental than all of that. I think it's about Britain's place in the world, how we see ourselves, and how the rest of the world sees us. And I think Britain's place is best served when we're a bridge between Europe and America. Yes, keeping that special relationship with America that has served us so well for so long, but also ensuring that we're good neighbours, good, reliable neighbours and friends to our fellow EU nations and to our fellow EU leaders. I think that says something profound about us, that yes, we can remember our past, about a time when the sun never set on the British Empire, but we're not that country today, and we retain our influence, I strongly believe, by being that bridge, that strong, firm, united bridge between America and the European Union. You know, twice in the last century, Europe was at war with itself. Today, and for many decades, Europe has lived in relative peace, and I think that's in no small part due to our membership of the European Union. So what I'd urge you to do is to find some good independent sources of news and information, read about the pros and cons, because of course there are cons of being part of the EU as well. We do have to give up some sovereignty to be part of those that family of nations, and the EU doesn't get everything right. It needs to be far more democratic in its decision making. It needs to be far more based in local communities and not in some kind of distant, far off institution in Brussels and Strasbourg. So of course the things that the EU needs to do better, I certainly don't deny that, but go out there, find some good independent sources of news, read up on the pros and the cons, and then make your decision whenever that happens. And indeed you'll be getting quite a lot of leaflets through the door, as I did on the day of recording this, from the pro-EU campaign. You'll be getting lots from both sides. You need to treat perhaps all of it with a little bit of a sceptical eye, because obviously there are biased views either side, but find some good independent sources of news and then make that decision. I'd certainly encourage you to vote to ensure that we stay in the EU and that we keep our influence in the world. Now, each time we do these videos, once a month, I'm asking you, dear viewer, to ask whatever question you might like about any issue you want to do so. Some I might know some about, others not, but I'll always give it a best shot and honestly answer. And I've got a couple of questions here. The first of all, this is from Alex in Swindon, so thanks very much Alex for getting in touch. And he asks, how do we build a social liberal society? Well, I think Alex knows that I'm a good social liberal, or at least I try to be. And my answer to that would be, Alex, is that we need to work together to ensure a social liberal society. We need to ensure a decent welfare state that properly looks after the most vulnerable, weakest and poorest in our society. We need good, decent jobs that pay a living wage, and we need to protect people's human rights as well, and ensure that all of our minorities, whether it's LGBT plus, BAME, people with disabilities or whatever, are properly protected. And some would question whether that's happening under this present Tory government. And finally, a question from Andrew, who's in Scotland. Thanks very much, Andrew, for getting in touch. He asks, how do we do community politics in the modern era? So, gosh, these are quite big questions, aren't they, that I'm getting on this first edition. Well, I think community politics has to now be in two halves. There's the online community, so I think Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube are all important, and we need to engage political parties, whatever it is, whether it's the Lib Dems, which are my party, or other parties, need to engage in that online community. But you know, you can never quite beat doing community politics the old-fashioned way, which is going and knocking on doors, meeting people, listening to their concerns in the street, and then trying to do your bit, whether you're in elected office, as I used to be, or whether you're a private citizen wanting to do public good, as I try and do now. I think you can't beat community politics being done in that way, despite all of the modern technology that we should be using today as well. And so finally, I just want to say there's a couple of big things coming up for me in the next few weeks. February is LGBT History Month, and we've got a big event on Saturday, February 27th at 5 p.m. At St Mary's Church in Hinckley, a reflection and reception talking about LGBT History Month, and we've got some great speakers coming up there. For more information, follow me on Twitter at Hulbert Mathew with one T in Mathew. And then also from the very last day of February, the 29th of February, which happens to be my birthday, yes, I am a leap year child, until the 13th of March, it's Fair Trade Fortnight. And again, anyone who knows anything about me at all will know that I'm a big supporter and promoter of fair trade. For those of you who don't know, and I think most people do, but if you buy products with the official fair trade label on them, which I think most folks do know, then that means that more of what you pay, a fairer amount, goes to the original developer and grower in the developing world, so that they can lead a decent life and a dignified life. And so simply by changing our shopping habits, we can change people's lives in a positive way right around the world. And so I hope you'll take part in Fair Trade Fortnight as well. Lots going on in Hinckley and Bosworth, as well as throughout Leicestershire, the East Midlands, and throughout the UK as well. So until next month, thanks for watching Matthew's Month. Goodbye.